the Grand Hyatt Hotel, I will tell you, the hotel market was in shambles. Everybody said, Donald, you're crazy. And I was crazy, and I did it. And all of a sudden, I got it built. I started building it. And by the time it opened, it was a tremendous job.
Yeah, but would it have been successful without the zoning and the abatement?
No, it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't.
Okay,
but
so
I got the
concession.
zoning.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And now what we're doing is we're asking for certain things. Every civic association virtually in New York is supporting it.
But they're supporting it because of the concessions you made in terms of subway, in terms of how much parks and all of that kind of thing. And so the question remains,
well, the bottom
can
line,
you deliver on it?
Yeah, the bottom line is if the market comes back, you deliver. If the market doesn't come back, you don't deliver. Now, maybe Clinton's going to come up with a housing program where you're getting a subsidized housing or something, in which case you do it in a different way. We're looking to get zoning for a piece of land that's unzoned, that's employing no people, that's sitting there rotting, that's rat infested. And if I get the zoning, which I hope to be able to get, the city desperately needs the job. If the city turns around, and if the economy turns around, and if incentives are put back into real estate on a federal basis, no, there's always this, but there's been ifs in everything I ever did. When I did Trump Tower, in all fairness, people said I was totally crazy. It couldn't possibly succeed. It was too big, it was too expensive, it was too everything. And it turned out to be probably the most successful condominium development ever in this country.
And is it profitable?
Trump Tower?
Yeah.
The most. I mean, it was the most successful development ever built in this country on a condominium basis. I will tell you, 2 years before I started construction, people thought I was totally crazy to do it. It really worked out to be fantastic. You can say the Taj Mahal, you can say Trump Plaza. I mean, so many of the jobs I do at the time I'm doing them are supposed to be not good, and they turn out to be tremendous.
Who makes the decision as to when you go? Is that a decision made by you, or is that a decision made by the bankers?
No.
And are you going to parcel those projects off?
I'll tell you what, the city is lucky to have the bankers that I have on my job because they've invested a lot. They have confidence in me, they have confidence in the city, and frankly, they're very lucky because otherwise it could be a war, it could be a this, it could be a that, and that would be bad for everybody. I mean, I have some really great banks on this particular site, and they've gone with me, and they believe in me, and you know, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be, I think ultimately the decision's going to be right, and it's going to be a great success.
You know what they say, when you owe as much money as you did, they become your partners.
But that's really a false statement because Reitman owed a lot more money than me, and nobody's partners with Reitman.
And he went bankrupt.
Reitman's in deep trouble.
Are they in bankruptcy? I want to be fair to them.
They are in bankruptcy, and frankly, they're in, just very deep trouble. The banks, my banks have had a great confidence in me. They know I'm good. They know I do it the best, and they also know that I'm honest.
But did they have a choice?
Oh, absolutely.
They had a lot of money at stake. Were the assets not there to get their loan back?
I'm not saying I would have been easy had the other route gone, but I will tell you this. They absolutely had a choice, and they could have gone a different route.
And what's the route they could have gone?
Well, it could have been a contentious route. Rather than working with me, et cetera, it could have been a contentious route, and that would have been bad for me, would have been bad for them.
They could have put you up against the wall and said, you owe us this money, you can't pay it back. We called it to you.
They could have done that, and I think if they did that, it would have been bad for everybody, including them, and I think they understood that. But more importantly, see, I found out...
because they would have lost money?
Very much, I think so. I found out a couple of things about banks. First of all, I find the banks to be very, very underrated in terms of the intelligence level, the whole thing. I mean, I have worked with the banks now very closely for 32 years, and these guys have done a fantastic job, at least as far as my stuff is concerned. I've done great for them, and they've done great for me, and my thing is back. I mean, I believe that in 6 months, in 12 months, I may be stronger than I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I think I will be stronger than I was 2 or 3 years ago. I would like to see an uptick in the market. I think you're going to have an uptick in the market.
Why do you think you'll be stronger? I mean, now that you clearly have given up equity.
Very little equity. What have I given up? You know, the story is that I gave up equity. What have I given up? I sold the shuttle for a lot of money.
Well, you made more money than you sold it for more money than you paid for, or not?
No. I'll tell you what.
But you sold it for a lot of money, but sold it for less than you paid for. It's not a positive.
I didn't reduce not for less. I reduced my debt by hundreds of millions of dollars by the sale of the shuttle. And
you sold it for less than you paid for.
No, I didn't. I actually sold it probably for more than I paid for it. But it's a very complex formula. If you sit down with a pencil and paper, we can maybe figure it out someday in 5 years because it's a long-term deal. We don't want to bore everybody with it. But I sold the shuttle. I got rid of a tremendous amount of debt. I got rid of a lot of personal guarantees. Taj Mahal,
personal guarantees are unsecured loans from friends, or what?
No, personal guarantees being personal guarantees to banks, where I personally guarantee a piece of a loan. Basically, if you take the Atlantic City properties, I have up to 80% of the Taj Mahal. The thing's making fortune.
Well, is it making a fortune? Stay with me and ask this question. Is it making a fortune, or is it generating a fortune in revenue, but it has a fortune plus in expenses?
It has a big fortune in expenses. I mean, it's one first class. It's a 4-star hotel.
Okay, but there's a point there. How much of this in the end is net cash flow?
Well, I'll give you
how much
an
is
example.
essentially, but a lot of money's flowing in, but also out the other door is a lot of money going the other way.
We'll have probably $80 million. I think the parish could have a cash flow of maybe $30 to $40 million after debt. That's some cash flow. That's a great cash flow. What do I do with it? I do the West Side Yards. I do the Riverside South. I do other things. But the Taj Mahal's turned out very successful. Trump Plaza, I own 100% of Trump Plaza. You know, there's this misnomer that I sold like this, I that. When you think of it, I sold.
Why didn't your friend Greenberg from Bear Stearns say he used to own 100% of assets that were worth nothing? Now he owns 50% of things and making a lot of money.
Well, what happened in Atlantic City? Well, there is a difference. And I own 50% of the castle. When I say I own 50%, I'm also paying much less interest because I sold 50% bondholders. Right. And in return for that, I got a reduction of debt, a reduction of this, and a reduction in interest. So it's making a lot more money. In Trump Plaza's case in Atlantic City, I own 100% of it. And that is turning out to be fantastic.
I can take your word on all of this.
By the way, Charlie, I have to tell you, because of the fact that a big difference is, and that's why you see in all the casino things, because of the fact that
they want to see you as a winner, because if you're a winner, it means that they're a winner.
Well, they don't want to see me as a winner, actually, because I have to tell you, when things started going bad, I was on the cover, but instead of my hands being up, I had my chin down, okay? So nobody wants to see me do it.
Let me just stay with that image for a second. Was it embarrassing for you? They say about you, they took his toys away. They took his yacht away. They took
I sold.
Yeah, but, I mean, did the banks put you on an allowance or not? I mean, help us understand how bad it got for you, and whether you were embarrassed, and whether you said, wow.
Well, when you say embarrassed, I didn't love waking up in the morning and walking out the street.
Help us understand that. I mean, you were a guy. Welcome to our broadcast. Tonight we spend the hour with a man who has already left his own unique mark on the face and history of New York City. If Donald Trump is not in the news for a high-stakes deal or a controversial new development, he may be in the gossip column with his latest relationship. But less than 2 years ago, the news was that the Trump empire was in trouble, and some were quick to announce that the king had lost his crown. Donald Trump.
Golf course, and sometimes I go out with some friends who are good golfers, and you play, and you really don't think about all of the problems of the world and the problems of everything. And again, I like to blame myself, but I mean, one of the things is, frankly, I was doing so well, and it was all so easy that I took it easy. And all of a sudden, I started relying on other people, and I said, listen, you went to the Wharton School of Finance, you're a genius, you take care of this, and you take care of that, and you do this. And I stopped, and I got rid of people, and I did it myself, and since then, things have been fantastic. I mean, it's just
92 is the best year of your life?
I think 92 could be certainly one of the best years of my life because it really all came together for me, financially speaking, and in so many other ways.
I read all these numbers, and this is not investigative journalism here. We're interested in what makes you tick, and we don't have the resources or the manpower or the time doing a nightly show to do what somebody would do if they spent 6 months working on a piece about you.
But you do have the brain.
Help me with the numbers. Do you owe $5 billion?
No, at one point, I guess I owed pretty close to $5 billion, but I had assets far in excess of that. Yeah. And they passed a 1986 tax law, which was just absolute stupidity by the politicians. And
but a lot of people supported that. I mean, Garman and Baker and Bill Bradley and a lot of other people thought this was the tax reform act of all time.
Yeah, I like
and
Bill
Jack
Bradley.
Kemp, too, did he not?
I like Bill Bradley, and I like a lot of the people that you mentioned, and they didn't really support, but Bill Bradley did very much.
Right.
And I have to tell you, he destroyed the home building industry in the United States. He destroyed the savings and loans in the United States.
Tax reform act of 86
Absolutely. What happened is incentive was taken out of the real estate industry. And the industries such as savings and loans, they based on real estate. And when the values went down, and they plummeted, they absolutely plummeted. So the savings loans had billions of dollars in real estate that now all of a sudden is one half the billions of dollars in real estate.
But you know better than I do is that during that time, I mean, the savings and loan crisis came about because a lot of savings and loan lent a lot of money to developers that were bad loans and should not ever have been made. And then all of a sudden...
That's true. And I have to tell you, it's 100% true. But a lot of that was exacerbated. A lot of loans that could have been good loans were made into bad loans because of the change, because of the 1986 tax law change. And what that did is all of a sudden you had Resolution Trust, and you're paying billions and billions. In order to save $5 billion in taxes, we're now paying trillions of dollars to save industries and save banks.
And some people have come along and made a ton of money because of Resolution Trust. I mean,
and some people made a lot of
see where Ron Perlman the other day made $1 billion or something?
Well, I don't know what he made, but I frankly, he's a good man. I hope he did make a lot of money, but it's the government's fault. The government passed a very stupid law. They have to put the incentive back into real estate. I think they're doing it. I think they're going to do it.
Here's the other side. It is that people with great entrepreneurial gifts, like you, get yourself extended.
Well, it could have been a contentious route, rather than working and, working with me, et cetera, et cetera. It's in the city, and frankly, they're very lucky, because otherwise it could be
embarrassed, and whether you said, wow.
Well, when you say embarrassed, I didn't love waking up in the morning and walking out.
Well, but help us understand that. I mean, if you were a guy, you take some responsibility, though.
Absolutely.
You're not saying.
Because I'd be a fool if I didn't. But I have to tell you, a lot of smart people are in real deep trouble right now, and I'm not. A lot of people, really smart people, are dead. They're gone. They're buried. They're over.
And so, and one more time, why are they dead, buried, gone, history, and you are alive, well, and...
Before I explain that, I just want to say that you have 15 great years, you have one bad year, and people judge you by your last thing. You're only as good as your last thing. You're only as good as your last article or what you've done lately. And that's it. I mean, you take a guy like Harry Helmsley. I mean, the man had 50 great years. Then, unfortunately, he married Leona. I mean, this was like a major mistake.
Here we go again.
He marries Leona. Hey, yeah, poor Harry. I feel so sorry for you. Harry, get rid of her. Just leave her alone. Find a new woman if you can. But I'll tell you what, he marries Leona, so now all of a sudden he has a couple of bad years, to put it mildly bad years. I mean, we're talking about major. They don't say the score is 50 to 2. No, they don't say the score is 50 to 2. As far as they're concerned, Harry is like this major failure, and that's a shame, because that's not the way life should work. It should be 50 to 2. That's a pretty good record. Well, I had 15 great, then I had the one bad year, and 1.5 real bad years. I had a fight. I mean, it was a struggle. It was a survival. It was surviving at the top. I wrote the book. It was surviving at the top.